What I have found is that the way that I find that my projects don't work, when I have reviewed why my projects has not worked, it's almost always been because I have not pushed my partner to fulfill the timelines we have agreed to. I am Christina Suter, and this is the Real Estate Breakthrough Show, where we talk about the reality of real estate, the mindset you need in order to face the reality of what it is, and tips and tricks to get you moving forward in investing. I am your host, Christina Suter. I am your host, Christina Suter, and I want to talk to you about your mindset and what difference it can make in investing. So my last show was how to lose money with real estate investing. It's a funny topic for me because I don't usually talk in the negative. I usually try to talk in the positive, but hopefully you can get the gist of it by listening to that show. I went over 7 different ways you can lose money in real estate. I want to simplify this. Let's get really clear on how I have lost money in real estate. How has Christina Suter lost money in real estate? Straight up, telling you guys the truth. And it all boils down to time, some version of time. I did not control the time. So let me talk to you about this. So really, partnerships, time. Let me describe what I mean. First, partnerships. Basically, I have a tendency, because I believe in joint ventures, I have a tendency to believe that my partner is going to be as time sensitive as I need to have happen, or the deal needs to have happen to meet the finances that we have come up with. So let me repeat that. I am generally so loyal and have faith in my partners to where I have a tendency to be too kind. I let them run the timeline on the project. We have, generally before we start a project, we have an anticipated timeline having to do with finances. The project needs to be done in this amount of time because of finances, right? And I go, well, I'm in charge of finances. I'm in charge of the contracts. I'm in charge of the paperwork. I'm the office gal, but I'm also the money, right? I bring the money to the project. My partner is the one who's supposed to be the one who faces the contractors, gets the daily work done, checks in every day, making sure that it's happening. That is generally my partner's job. What I have found is that the way that I find that my projects don't work, when I have reviewed why my projects has not worked, it's almost always been because I have not pushed my partner to fulfill the timelines we have agreed to. I have not pushed my partner to fulfill the timelines we've agreed to. Now, that's one. The other piece about working with partners and time, because it boils down to time, is that I'm paying my partners along the way. I generally have the finances. I'm usually the one that's bringing the capital to the deal. I've been investing for 30 years. I've developed a capital base. I'm the one that usually is bringing the financial backing to the deal. It's usually my money that is the bulk of the money in the deal. Generally, the people I partner up with, or I have partnered up with, are people who do not have a lot of capital of their own. They are contributing sweat equity. The way that I feel that I have lost money in this is that I've been paying them as the deal goes along, some version of them being paid as the deal is going along. Now, why is that hard? Why is that difficult? You would think, hey, sweat equity, right? Shouldn't they get some kind of weekly check? Maybe they're trying to replace a job. Maybe they're trying to replace income that they would normally get, but instead they're focusing on our joint venture. So why would they not deserve money along the way? I understand the thinking. And forgive me if I piss somebody off here, but what I have found is that they approach the project as if it's a job. They're not sensitive to how quickly they're going to make their capital back, how quickly they're going to get that jump, because they're making their weekly bills. Because effectively, the longer the project goes, the longer they have a steady paycheck. It's an unintentional thing, I believe, in the back of their brain. Again, I'm sorry if I'm pissing you guys off, but I'm trying to tell you what I've experienced. I think it's an unintentional thing in the back of their brain that, one, they're being rewarded for stalling the project unintentionally. Two, this is the one that I think is going to be hard, guys. They bring to the project, and I support in their thinking that this is a job versus an entrepreneurial venture. It brings to the thinking, it supports their thinking that they're focused on the fear of the weekly paycheck versus the striving for the adventure of the project. So I'm trying to talk to, this is mindset, guys, really mindset. It puts them back in the position of being an employee and my employee, which makes me have to kick their patootie to make them move along because they have set themselves up to be an employee versus the thinking of, we win this together when the race is done. And the focus is on how fast we can get the race done because that's when we get paid. So I wish I had better mindsets for this, better understanding for this. Maybe you guys can put better words into the YouTube comments below or into the Facebook comments below. But there's definitely a difference. So that's first, so piece one, having to do with time, is time and partnerships. Time and partnerships. That's where I feel like I have failed. That's where I feel like my projects have failed. Projects have a timeline where they need to be successfully finished by, other financially, they will not work. So time for time. So the second piece of time isn't necessarily about partners. It's about the project itself. Time waiting for permits, time waiting for bids, time waiting for the architect to deliver their drawings, time of not pushing my partner forward to make sure that they're pushing the subs forward, time waiting for crews to show up. Every single month, every single week, every single day, we're losing money on that project. Every day it costs money to hold that up. I've had projects that cost anywhere from $14,000 to $17,000 a month, effectively $500 a day, regardless of what day of the week it is, $500 a day to hold that project up. So if I can pay a sub an extra $200 to get that piece done a day to 3 days earlier, I've just saved myself anywhere from $500 to $1,500 in costs, and it cost me $200 to save that. Time waiting for permits. I had a project, I waited 18 months for permits to show up on the project. I was adding 1,000 square feet. That 18 months times even $10,000 a month is $180,000. That's a big freaking ticket, guys. That costs a lot of money. Time waiting for permits, time waiting for an architect. I waited for an architect to deliver me plans over a 3-month period. 3 months times $10,000 a month is $30,000. I don't want to wait 3 months for an architect to get around to my plans. I want to wait 3 weeks. I don't want to pay $30,000 waiting for an architect I've paid $15,000 to. I want to wait 3 weeks that I have now paid $10,000 waiting for that architect, and I've still paid them $15,000. Time waiting for bids. I've held up small projects where I'm waiting for them to get me estimates. I wait a month for them to get me estimates. It cost me $1,500 to hold that small project up. So instead of $15,000 or $10,000, it only cost me $15,000, but $1,500, it cost me $1,500 to wait for an estimate that cost me zero money because it's an estimate. They're not charging me for it, but I just lost $1,500 because it took them 3 weeks to get back to me to tell me they didn't have the estimates. Time, your biggest deal breaker is going to be the lack of your control over time, because it's not just your time. It's not just you moving through the project. It's not you staying up late and finishing the architectural plans. It's not you talking to the permit office every day, which you can do. It's waiting for the permit office to move forward. It's not you bugging your subcontractor every day saying, hey, where's that scope of work? Where's that scope of work? You can do that, but it might take 3 weeks to get it. You can bug and you can push, and that's what you need to do, because time is not your friend when you're flipping. Time's not even your friend when you're rehabbing for rent, when you're using the BRRRR method. Purchase, right? Buy, rehab, rent, refinance. Time is not your friend. When you get to tenanted, when you get a tenant in there and now you're covering your costs, okay, whew, you got more time, but you're still losing opportunity costs until you get it refinanced. But when you're flipping in particular, when you're rehabbing, whether it's rehab to rent or flipping for a final market, when you have hard money on something, time is not your friend. If you can be knowledgeable about anything, if you're the part of the project that I am, which has to do with the finance, the paperwork, the legalities, or just the sheer financial background of the project, your job is not just to be loyal and kind. Your job is to kick patootie when the time is running out, because time costs you your profit in your project. Every time a project has failed, it has boiled down to time. Okay, guys, I try to give you the straight poop. This is me giving you the straight information. I am trying to help you move forward as best as we can together. Win-win, growing together. Time is not your friend when you're doing rehab work. So make sure you sit on that timeline and that you know what it is. I am Christina Suter, and this is the Real Estate Breakthrough Show. Tune in next week for your next tip.